Welcome to Esalen Live, where we chat with change agents and swim deep waters in an ongoing exploration of human potential. I'm your host, Christine Chen. When we think of exploration, we often think of going somewhere else to discover something new. But to journey toward your potential, perhaps the deepest exploration is within, no matter where you are in this world. On Esalen Live today, I'm so happy to welcome Ulrika Engman. She's a longtime yoga teacher who's coming back to Esalen, and she's super excited about it. And she's here with some insight today on how yoga has changed and what it means to practice in the here and now. Everyone say hello to Ulrika. Hi, Ulrika.
Hello. Great
So
to see
great to see
everyone.
you. Great to have you. Thanks for joining us on Esalen Live. So much has changed. I don't even need to explain how. But where does, or maybe also how does yoga fit into the here and now in our lives today, do you think? It's changed so much.
It's changed so much, but in many ways, I think it fits better into our lives than it ever has. That this
Can you
is an
expand on that?
opportunity. Yeah, yoga is coming into our bodies. We don't have to go anywhere but inside ourselves when we truly go into our yoga practice, and to harness that ability to practice at home, right? It's become this practice that is a little bit more intimate, and hopefully that extends into the connection, into the community when we're able to engage again together. But I hope that it's, at least for me and what I've seen, for everyone that's choosing to practice during this time, it's just become a very meaningful and very satisfying practice to nourish and feel safe, right, in the container, in the space of our own body.
I love that. If you're just joining us on Esalen Live, welcome. We're with Ulrika Engman, the longtime yoga teacher coming back to Esalen and also the founder of Yoga Journeys. We'd love to know a little bit about your practice as you're joining us here today. Ask her any questions you'd like to, and we'll hope to get to them during this time. And also, in the meantime, send her a little bit of love, like a heart emoji or something, if this is something that's helping you right now, or if you really appreciate her time and sharing her expertise, we'd love to hear from you. Ulrika, how is yoga different than a year ago, 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago? You and I talked just before we went live about
Mhm.
how practices are just changed. They're different. We're not practicing in the same way that we did. I know that you mentioned things are a little bit the same, but
Mhm.
give us an idea of that
Yeah,
journey.
I think overall yoga has become more practical in a way that we have to just narrow it down in bit sizes and make it just simpler, right? There's not a group class to go to during this whole time. So we had to just do and build a practice of what we remember and what we can do. And it just become more of a way of almost like being in your body. And in the yoga practice would be similar to going on a hike, right? We improvise a little bit and use simpler postures and just reprioritize. Maybe it's more important to just feel that you have a way to deal with your deeper emotions and have an outlet and a way to express yourself in a time where socially we just cannot be out as much, but you
Mm.
can still have an outlet for who you are. So smaller practices, shorter amount of time. I find that people practice a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening, helping them sleep better. Um, just wanting to get up in the morning and do something and just feel energized.
Yeah. Do you notice a change in the type of people who are practicing yoga? I mean, humans are humans, but it seems to
Hmm.
me as a fellow yogi that more people are coming to yoga than ever before. Its role in what we're going through as a global society
Hmm.
has also shifted who comes to the practice, I think. But do you agree
Yeah.
with that? And also at home, do you agree with that? Let us know.
Yeah, I find it's been an interesting experience teaching a lot online. And then to hear that a lot of people feel comfortable, right, in their own home, saying, I feel more comfortable when nobody's observing what I'm doing. I'm not competing anymore. I'm able to be guided and explore and learn a little bit on my own, but still in a community of people online so I can grow and expand in the comfort of my own home. And I don't know, I just heard that it's given people permission to be much more forgiving and
Mm,
recognizing how forgiving and humble the body is and grateful
mm.
just when we do something as simple as a forward fold. So I find that a lot more people feel willing to try it.
I'd love to know you at home if you agree with what Ulrika just said. Send her some love and ask her any questions you'd like to, because here's my next question. Is the yoga that you just described the yoga for the here and now? I mean, is that where we are right now and for the foreseeable future? Simpler, more deep. Maybe that's always how we've practiced, but
Mhm.
just wanted to expand on what does it mean to
Well,
be in the here and now?
I feel like just like a lot of us had to return to go back to cooking more,
Hmm.
right? Instead of going out for dinner. Same thing when we practice yoga on our own or online, we just have to simplify it a little bit to be safe. Um, and the same, so I think the metaphor of how we cook is just like we still want to be nourished and feed ourselves well, hopefully. And then seeing that yoga is just this other way to care for ourselves during this time. But it doesn't have to be in the context of a 90-minute practice or a fully guided sequence.
Hmm.
Right? If we're going to do it on our own, it'll be something um, much simpler, like a recipe that maybe we start with the simpler stuff. And
Mm.
then we'll see what happens down the road. I think we're going to be hatching a lot more yogis that practice on mountaintops.
Like you right here. And this is a
Exactly.
very difficult pose, Astavakrasana, eight angle pose. So what would you say, like, this is part of the intimidation factor for new yogis who are coming, who maybe used or were inspired by the pandemic and by the way, I should say, Maureen, thank you for this comment. I have to say, miss that one other person, love connecting in yoga, and she's motivated by being in person. A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
But Cheryl also agreed with your thoughts a second ago, talking about how being at home in your privacy gives you a little bit of agency to choose things that are more appropriate for you in the moment rather than to feel like you have to do something. But when
Yeah.
you're talking about difficult poses like the one we just saw, and I'll put this one up again. Oh, this is one of my favorites that you've done. But it takes a while to get here, right? We have to do the work, and yoga's not always about poses. So, what's your best advice to those who are discovering yoga or want to invite a loved one to discover yoga? And it doesn't have to be about the pose, the hard pose, right?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is make sure you step into a loving environment where you feel welcomed and where you feel accepted and that you're encouraged to move your body. That yoga for me is not about stretching, it's more about opening the body internally from how we breathe and how we feel about ourselves. And then letting the body open more with a life energy like a plant, right? You nurture it with the elements and you start to see your posture and your inner being change. And I find it's possible in our yoga to learn it from the inside out. And then from that place, we pretty much all are evolving together.
Mm,
So for beginners, it's important to not step into something that looks way over your head. That would be like going on a, black mountain ski trip or something and just going, I can't do this. I don't have the skill set. So you have to start right from
mm.
the beginning and recognize that and be kind. So hopefully you have kind friends that bring you into the right environment.
Right. And those of you who
Right.
are yoga practitioners, be gentle with the people that you're bringing in as well. I said this to
Hmm.
someone yesterday. I said, if you don't have altitude training, why would you go climb Mount Everest right away? um,
Yeah.
Tell us at home. I would like to invite Ulrika to lead us in a mindfulness exercise, which is such a huge part of yoga. Would you like to do it at home? Let us know. I think we're getting a little bit of support here. Yeah, so let's do it. I'm going to give it over to you, Ulrika, for a little practice today that we can all share. So if you're loving this idea, please give her a little thumbs up here. Go ahead, Ulrika.
All right. So, you know me, I usually just love movement, but today the internet is not very strong. So, I'm going to be very still. And I'm just going to invite you to bring your fingertips together, feeling the different qualities of your thumb. Tap it for a moment. Tap your index finger for a moment, and your middle finger for a moment, and then the ring finger, and then the little finger. So now you've just made a connection to all those nerve endings inside yourself. Slowly, in slow motion, begin to bring your hands up and rest your chin onto your thumbs. So, one of the more contemplative postures that we can do with our mudras is just bringing the thumbs to our chin, index finger to the third eye, and then have that space to breathe just through the nose. You harness the connection with your breathing. The thumbs help you relax your jaw. You keep the space between your teeth nice and open and your tongue relaxed. And you just give yourself a moment to reboot. Getting nice and quiet, dropping the weight of the head into the index fingertip. And you're going to take one more nice long breath and just see how long it can be. Make your exhale a little longer than your inhale. So a little practice like that can be so profound, right? Giving yourself a pause. See what new thoughts come your way as you gently lift your forehead away from your index fingers. Reach the fingertips forward, move your thumb away from your chin. Rest your hands back down, one hand on top of the other, and just pause.
Mm.
So mainly just having a moment to reset.
Can you explain this a little bit more for those who are not familiar with mudras or this
Yeah.
one?
So our sensory nervous system is the strongest. Think of it as connected. I think of it as the Wi-Fi that you have five bars, right? When you have strong connection, you have all the elements connected within your being. So you have the
Mm,
earth and the water and the fire and the air and the space element connected. So your fingers kind of is the metaphor for the elements. You can see kind of how different your structure is. Your thumb and index finger much more earthy, and water just able to carry the weight of our bodies. Our little finger is the most ethereal, the most sensitive, the most light. When you touch with that, it's just sensitive, right? So you want to tune in to all these different parts of yourself so you have a connection to your sensitivity, to your groundedness, to your mental spaciousness, to your energy, feeling your fire and your fluidity and your flexibility. But the fingers can make that more tactile
mm,
and just a little bit more of a kind of a conscious connection for the mind to feel like you're using your body as a mental tool to
mm.
understand more how to use your energy. So,
You're getting a lot of love right now. If you loved what that explanation was and maybe how it's sinking into you in this moment, send Ulrika a little bit of love if you appreciate everything she's offering today, because this is free digital content we love to offer from a teacher like Ulrika, and we're so, so grateful for it. For longtime yogis, Ulrika, who are trying to bring their practices that they used to have into the here
mm,
and now. Like, right, that's like I used to be able to do this. This is what I've always done, but we're in a different time. And I think
yeah.
that doesn't just speak for yoga, but what we used to be and what we are now, we have to continue to progress to our
Hmm.
what we might think is a potential that we never even thought of before, or transform in a different way. What would your
Hmm.
advice be to those who are attached to the past, the way we used to do things in
Yeah.
yoga or in life? And how can we use yoga to move on to the future?
Find a yoga friend to practice with. A friend and a safe buddy during this time if you're not comfortable going to class quite yet. But I've had the most profound practices when I share with one more person. And it might take a while, but once you set up that time, whether it's a yoga teacher you do privates with, but you can also find a friend and you stimulate each other. It's so fun to play. And from that, you can help each other go up into handstand. You'll fumble and learn very much like when you were little kids. But with enough, if you have been practicing for quite some time, you have enough foundation to share with another friend that wants to keep growing.
Mm.
But I find that it's difficult sometimes to just do it all on our own. We need somebody, whether it's not a yoga group, but just, you know, whether if it's not your best friend, try to make a yoga friend that you can share with at least once a week.
I find it also keeps me accountable. I'm less likely to say
Mhm.
I'll do it later.
Yes.
Yes. You we're laughing because we all know it well, don't we?
Yes, we
We know
do.
that feeling well, don't we all know it well? Okay, so Ulrika, you have two beautiful workshops coming up at Esalen. Oh, Miyuki says she's enjoying it at 3 in the morning in Japan. So welcome from Japan, one of my favorite places on earth. Hope to be there soon. These two workshops, Ulrika, beautiful. Yoga for the here and now, a lot of what we've just talked about that's happening September 6th through 10th. And then you have the second workshop, Stoking the Energetic Fire, Yoga for the Inner Glow, coming up September 10th through 12th. And can you say anything about these to invite some beautiful yogis and new yogis to these workshops with you, Ulrika?
Yeah, so the yoga for the here and now, we have the 5-day workshop and it stretches out for a longer period of time. What the two workshops have in common is that we'll be creating like a 7-minute practice that you can do on your own or with a friend, a different one every day. So you're going to feel like you really have something to work with when you're coming home from the workshop that's very tangible, that you can remember easily. And it pretty much acts like a starter that gets you going and inspired to take your next steps. And
Yeah.
the stoking the energetic fire and the yoga for the inner glow is a similar, but in that practice in the weekend, it will just move a little faster, right? We'll
Mm.
have a little bit more for the internal fire, and yoga for the here and now. We'll have more time since it's a 5-day workshop for little breakouts and discussions and just kind of process things where we've been and where we are now
Yeah.
and where we're heading.
We mentioned that it's been a long time that you've taught at Esalen and what, 15 years or
Mhm.
something like that?
I've been teaching at Esalen for 15 years, and 3 years ago was the last time.
3 years ago was the last time. Got my numbers confused. Well,
Yeah.
welcome back,
Yeah.
Ulrika. Send
Thank
her a
you.
little
Thank you.
love. Thank you, Tanya, from joining us in New Zealand. Another one of my favorite places. Getting so lucky with the,
Wonderful.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. This has been Esalen Live with Ulrika Engman, founder of Yoga Journeys, longtime yoga teacher. It's been 3 years since she's been to Esalen. Come join her. Check her out. Practice on your own. Breathe, everyone. Ulrika, what's one word that's floating into your heart right now that we've done this interview and chatted with our yogis from all around the world?
Connection.
Connection. Thank you from Costa Rica, too. Wow, how lucky are we? Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.